Test, test, test. How does that sound? Still very much learning this brand new mic, so bear with me. Welcome to the damn challenge. How have you been? How's everyone been, in fact? So focused on the mic, I kind of forgot to make sure the camera's lens cap was off. My bad. So, new mic. Who dis? Mac's got a new mic. So I'm very excited about that. It's very agile. Got a lot of range of movement. In fact, it's got like a whole 2 extra axes more than my previous mic did. So nice. Well, the mic mount, I guess, the stand. But the mic itself is very clean. I can turn it up, turn it down. It has a built-in tap mute, so I can just tap it and it turns off. Watch. If I tap this again, you could totally hear me. Anyway, it's actually very, very versatile. There's so many things about it that I'm learning as I go, but the setup was very, very clean and simple. Like the channels for the cabling they're magnetic, so you can just lift them up, and instead of unscrewing them or plastic clips that break, it's all magnetic. So it's really nice. And the channels have areas to store tools and stuff if you end up needing the tools for it to clamp it down tighter. The actual clamp mount was impressive to me because it has a ratcheting feature in it, meaning you can push it in and then turn it without it doing any tension in either direction. So this is great if you're working in a tight space where you're clamping it. Hey, Geronimo. Anyway, so I just want to, welcome you all to the damn challenge. We've got a lot of maps to showcase today, but the winning map is Town of Secrets, as you see here, by Lilandra Blue. Lilandra, I was incredibly impressed with this map, and I know you're here right now. So I am very excited to showcase your map while you're present. That'll be fun. But before we do, I want to make sure we're live on all platforms. I just got Steam to load. My TikTok has not been doing anything. I just refreshed it. Hey, Clado, thank you for that. It is pretty cool. It's a nice map. Oh, I'm getting an echo, and I found it. Found the echo. So I typically have every site muted through the tab. If you right-click on a tab, you can mute that site. That way you don't have multiple tabs playing audio simultaneously, but in this case, I can watch my stream in many different places and not hear it without having to turn it down or whatever, or mute each stream. It just mutes the tab and it's good to go. Anyway, I hope the new mic sounds good. Welcome back, one and all. My name is Mac. I'm the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Today's stream is called The Damn Challenge. In fact, it's the Hideout Damn Challenge, which the Damn Challenge is a ongoing bi-weekly map making contest we've been hosting for a few years now. And essentially we, as a community, pick a theme, and then the community gets 2 weeks to build a map using that theme as inspiration, and then they submit that map to the Damn Challenge channel in our Discord, where there's rules pinned at the top of the channel that you must follow to, be able to participate and qualify. If you have, if your map is the winning map, you win a $10 Hero Forge gift card like Lalandra will. And also, your map is the first map featured on the stream. Lizzie Plant on Facebook, you're asking, what is best size of map for D20 free version, please? I have only had this a few weeks, just learning. Do you mean Roll20? Is that what you mean, Lizzie? Sorry, I wanted to clarify before I proceeded. Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure before I started diving in. But yeah, I do see your question. And as far as Roll20 is concerned, I know we've got a few people watching on different platforms who might be a little bit better at this than me. But I am very, open to discussing it. I do know Roll20 has file size limitations on their website. So if you're using the free version, the basic tier, you would have to, let's see here, I'm looking it up. No, I know what they're talking about. Oh my gosh. Wait, I see a name lurking of a name I haven't seen in a long time. I don't want to call them out, but let them lurk, but anyway. Good seeing you, my friend. I hope you're well. Okay, so with Roll20, I'm trying to look it up right now, the exact file size. So with the free plan, you have 20 megabytes of is the max size a map can be, okay? And then 100 megabytes of total storage. So ideally, you'd want your maps to be small enough to fit several of them, maybe 10 to 20. So you'd want your maps around 5 to 10 megabytes each, if you can keep them around there. Though if you have maps that jump up into higher areas, it will likely be okay. The free plan I've, found kind of limiting, but it's good for a session usually. You can't plan several sessions in advance, but usually one session at a time, you're good. Just got this right here, sorry. But the average map in Dungeon Alchemist, as long as it's like a 40 by 40 or smaller and you're not using a ton of like animated assets, if it's just exported as a still map, it should probably work just fine. The problem is I can't really tell you a grid size because the grid size is dependent on, like, so many things can make a 5 by 5 map have a bigger file than another 5 by 5 map. Say different lighting or different animation or different color, the amount of assets present. So, if it were me in your case, I would probably stick to a 40 by 40 or less, because any bigger than that, they'll start being rather large upon export, especially if you have, lots of lighting and lots of different assets present. I think we as, map makers tend to get really detailed with maps, especially if they get the bigger they get. So remember, if you have a limitation on the file size, not the size of the map, the overall file size is where you're limited with Roll20. So that's what you need to focus on. And in that regard, you could have, if it was just a really simple map with nothing on it, like a desert or something, it could be like 100 by 100 and only be like 10 megabytes. So at the end of the day, it really depends on, you know, how detailed the map and how much is going on in it. Like, let me show you, for example, this map here, which is incredibly beautiful. It's 35 by 48. There's all sorts of detail in this and assets, I'm assuming, from the workshop. If we go to export it and we set it to Roll20, right? I'm going to set this to 72 DPI first off. That'll help me make the file size very small, the smallest it can be, in fact. And then you could set it to no borders. However, I don't like when my buildings are cut off on the edge, so I always set it to have a small border, which puts a little buffer zone around the map. And then you just click export. Do not export with the grid on, because you're going to want to use the grid in Roll20. So don't use the grid in DA if you're exporting for a virtual tabletop, because they have far better grid tools and options than we do. Now, I'm just going to export this to the desktop so we can have an idea of how big it is. Where is it? Okay, this image, it's only 1.29 megabytes. So at this rate, you know, if you did this at about this consistency and file size, you could fit, you know, close to 80 to 100 maps. I mean, I would say between 80 and like 100 maps, Lizzie. Now, back to the map at hand. We're talking about hideouts. And today's theme for the Damn Challenge, hideouts, was well represented by quite a few different entries. Loved all the entries. In fact, they were quite interesting. But this one really stood out to me for several reasons. One, you have this like extravagant, beautiful city square with this chapel. Looks almost like a normal place where you wouldn't have secret passages and hideouts, right? Hey, Primal. Zerm on YouTube asks, are you going to be able to edit roof shape sizes? It'll automatically, algorithmically shape the roof to the shape of the building. So if it's a round building, it'll put a conical round roof on it. If it's like a weird shape, it'll fit the shape. I'll show you an example in a moment. But let me highlight this entry, the winning entry from the Damn Challenge, and then I'll show you an example really quickly. So this map I found incredibly awesome because like you have this vibrant city square, beautiful, looks very like just normal, like run of the mill, like nothing's wrong here. It looks beautiful. In fact, like a happy-go-lucky place where you probably wouldn't have any secrets, right? But if you look at the top down here, you notice there's this kind of weird passage here. So let's take a look at this from the beginning, shall we? We're going to drop a bard, and I'm going to disable collisions. Oh, they're already off, so go through the door. Found it interesting that the these you know, the confessional booths had entries on the back side over here, which it makes sense, like if the priest, you know, they want to keep it anonymous so they don't see who comes in and they don't see who is going in there either way. So that's pretty cool. And then you come back into the office here, which it just looks like maybe a normal, like a bishop's office or, you know, priest's office, cardinal, whatever. Back here is a secret door. Go down the secret hatch, and then there's this underground like bunker with a lot of rooms. What is this? What is going on here? Law of the Jungle, you're very excited for Dungeon Alchemist. Have you tried out our demo yet? You know, we are like available in early access. So if you're excited, you could be using Dungeon Alchemist right now. Welcome to the stream, by the way, Law of the Jungle. Appreciate your enthusiasm. But I love this little escape hatch here. Very cool. And then, of course, you've got a boat. So when all's said and done, you know, if maybe the priest is up to no good, maybe he's secretly a necromancer or, you know, is taking advantage of the citizens in the town, or I don't know, any number of nefarious things the priest could be doing. Leading a resistance, whatever. So I will let everyone know this is done using stock Dungeon Alchemist that's available to the masses right now. This was made by hand, okay? Now, when I say by hand, meaning room generation wasn't really the name of the game when it comes to this. Some of it was, like you generate the shape of the room, but this type of stuff where you're going underground, above ground, a lot of it multi-level like this is done entirely by hand at the moment. So when our next update launches, though, Fun with Objects, which is being kind of split up into 2 updates, if you haven't heard, we announced this yesterday. Basically, Fun with Objects was getting so dense with like update features, quality of life improvements, but one of the biggest ones is the multi-level and roofing generation stuff. Not in this build that you're seeing here, but the one in our future update is basically that portion is done, and there's a few object features done, but they didn't want to delay the update while they fine-tuned a few other object features that aren't ready yet. And so they're going to split the update in 2. The first portion will release most likely end of June or early July. Most likely early July is probably the safest bet. And then the second portion a few months after that. But anyway, anyone in our community with enough patience and practice could build a structure like this with multiple levels and hidden rooms and underground structures, though it does take a lot of practice and a bit of know-how. Like, for instance, the pipe over here is covered with some stuff like rocks that are raised up and stuffed over it. We have these cool little stone pillar structures fitting right into it. A lot of it was kind of fit in custom by hand. These walls here, if you see, these are just stones that are stone platforms. They work great as like a city wall or a structure or a superstructure. Anyway. Okay, so let me show some roofing from our next update, because I know a lot of you are probably very curious about that. So basically, Dungeon Alchemist now can make all sorts of cool room shapes, right? So essentially, you know, nowadays you can make rounded rooms, diagonal rooms, you can have little concave or convex bites, all weird kind of extrusions, protrusions, different shapes working together and against each other, because we wanted to give you a whole bunch of, you know, creative freedom with your room shaping in the Magic update, you know, last year. But this created a problem when trying to generate roofing. It had like all these weird shapes that it's like, what do you put there for a roof? And we had to make some sort of logic for it. Come to find out that there really isn't any like known programming algorithm that generates roofing or similar structures, you know, with this kind of data. So our lead dev, Carl, has been like deep in the dev cave for months working this out to make it look clean and, you know, legitimate and automatic and seamless. And anyway, what you get is roofs that automatically essentially generate algorithmically around the shape provided by the room you generate. Blue Mage, you are getting fantastic. In fact, your build that you submitted, albeit late, was very good, and I'm glad you chose to resubmit it after we chatted. Blah. So the thing about Dungeon Alchemist Law of the Jungle is it's best of both worlds. Okay, you have a tool that's very easy to dive into and just build maps in a snap, as I like to say. For the most part, Dungeon Alchemist is kind of on rails. It allows you to build, you know, environments and rooms and the like relatively easy. But it also has a more advanced kind of deeper function set. Similar to tools like Photoshop, the more you dive into it, the more you learn and can understand and do with it. But at a basic level, you can do a lot of different things in it, like cropping and removing colors with very basic understanding. Now, with Dungeon Alchemist, though, it's got the environment generation, which is very simple. Just pick the environment, pick kind of the settings for it, and go. Pick the size. With rooms, you pick the room type, draw the room shape, and go. Now, obviously, multi-level at this point takes a little bit more panache. You gotta roll up your sleeves, you gotta put the elbow grease on and dive into it, and it does take some time. And I can definitely explain how to do it, but I will say this in short order, in just a month or two, pretty much it'll be a thing of the past, because the room generation tool will support jumping up and down between levels, going underground, going up, multi-levels, and adding flat or angled roofing. But the big thing is what I tell people to do with Dungeon Alchemist is, you've got all these tools, right? I'm very inquisitive by nature, so when I get a new program or a new game or a new tool, hey, Artful Darkness, thank you for the love, much appreciated. I'll always go through all the menus and look at them and see what's there, right? What does this do? Oh, there's a settings menu. Okay, what's in the settings menu? We've got graphics, we've got resolution, we've got UI, controls, first person. Oh, that's cool. What's that for? Grit, you know what I mean? I'll dive into stuff and start playing with it right away. But that's kind of my personality. Now, with Dungeon Alchemist, you do have a tutorial right when you dive in, right? That is essentially starts and gives you all these basics. Some people just try to skip over that, because I understand tutorials kind of get in the way when you're trying to have fun. Though I do feel like, often they definitely can help you have fun in the more long term, But anyway, you can always take the portions of the tutorial again or look at them later if you, weren't sure or missed something or misunderstood it. And then lastly, dive in all these menus. What does this do? Oh, we have a remove room tool. Oh, we have an edit room tool. So, once you have a room, you can do different things with it. The object menu has not only objects, but the ability to paint objects. Each of these menus has kind of advanced sub-menus or drop-downs in them that can give you more objects and features. Lastly, Law of the Jungle. There is a tutorial built in for sure. Now, if you have any questions, though, right now, I can answer any of your questions. And remember, if you're kind of unsure how to tackle building maps and advanced concepts, you can always get on the workshop and just download a map. There's over 11,600 maps available, shared by our community, and most of them are pre-cooked and ready to go for you. So you essentially just got to serve them to your players. You know what I mean? So essentially, our community's done a lot of the legwork, or if you need to make subtle adjustments to a map, you can. Alternatively, you can use it as inspiration or even reverse engineer it to learn how they did it. So I encourage our community to start small and build off of that. No one builds Rome in a day. You remember, you didn't learn to read overnight. It took years of practice, really. You learned your letters, and then you learned, putting the letters together, and what are the different types of letters, and how do they fit together, and what do they sound like? All these different things were in stages. So your map making is kind of the same. Start with the basics, kind of learn the ins and outs of each tool. And then you can ask questions in our Discord. We have a support forum, a question forum. You can drop in the stream, watch, ask questions, because all streams are AMA format, which means ask me anything. And I've got over 3,200 hours in Dungeon Alchemist, so I think I can kind of speak to it and how to do pretty much and teach you how to do pretty much anything. Anyway, appreciate you being here, Law of the Jungle. So, Lilandra, tell me about this map. What was the inspiration, and how long did it take you to make? Hey, Akira, thank you. Appreciate you. One of my favorite movies, by the way. Man, it's been a while since I've watched it. I probably should watch it. Took you about 30 hours. Honestly, I can see the attention to detail. Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. So today is basically we have a contest on our streams every 2 weeks called the Dam Challenge. And during the stream, we showcase maps that were entries from that. But the point is to highlight the cool things you can do in Dungeon Alchemist if you have enough time and creativity. And Lilandra, I mean, incredibly impressive build. Just like the cityscape alone is inviting, warm. It just seems like a fun and vibrant town. The city center, like a town square or town center that looks this clean and organized. It seems like the town's got it, got its stuff together, so to speak. But then this weird secret back over here. It's like there's a dark secret the town might be hiding. Or someone in the town, or maybe there's a secret society. Could be any number of things. Honestly, it's very impressive, and it's very playable in top-down. Yes, lots of perspective. The only thing that's not visible in the top-down is the hideout, which you could make a version of this map, files, save as, just delete everything above this room so you could see into the room when you want to for, an alternative view. I think it's been done really well, in fact. Let's look at the trace view. There's a secret place in the hotel. Oh my gosh, I didn't even know. See, I missed that. I saw this one and I thought, oh man, that's the big secret. Let me see if I can find it. Give me a moment. So there's secrets in every place? Is that what you're telling me? Ah, another bookcase with the secret underground passage. Let's check it out. I didn't even realize there were more. I found that first one. I was like, oh, that's the secret. I'm smart. I know. Nope, I did not know. Whoa. So, we've got a ritual room down here. No worries. Hey, Moore. How you doing, my friend? Welcome back. Happy Saturday to you. It's actually happy damn Saturday to you. Good sir. You always say damn in my presence, everyone. But yeah, you totally got me, Lilandra. I didn't even realize there were like this many secrets. Haha. That's one of my favorite secret doors. The one that matches the wall perfectly. Good use of this because it's like right in the corner here where no one would know. That's smart. Smart. Got a little lab in here, an apothecary lab. What has he got here? A clone tank? Goodness. This one's great. Yeah, the wall secret doors. Okay, so I'm really hoping like tricks and traps includes more like secret door stuff or refinement, making them so the pillars aren't there. And then there's secret doors for like every wall type and even some objects and stuff that act like a secret door. So like maybe a bookshelf object that opens in the center. So you could just have a space behind it and go through or under it, or maybe something that moves, like a trap door that moves or slides. Be cool. Anyway. Very well done with that. Okay, so there's secrets in like every building is what you're saying? Oh, there's a gambling bot there. And too funny. Too funny. More, what you up to, my friend? Highland Lass, how are you? Welcome back. Welcome back. So I streamed last night randomly. I don't know if a few of you probably caught it. It was very impulsive, but I got the mic all set up and I was like, man, I really need to test it. But like the day got away from me, so I didn't get a chance to. It's really well done. And I think one of the ways that our friend was kind of able to get around some of the restrictions is by making custom flooring and stuff too. Really allows you to kind of cover some things up. Oh no, cancel D&D is the worst. The biggest bad of all gets in the way. Cancellation, scheduling conflicts. About to take the kids out to do some shopping, enjoy the beautiful weather. Dude, stay safe, my friend. Enjoy yourself. Hoping to make a couple more smaller videos for the giveaway. Well, you do that, man. In fact, really quickly, let me shout out more D&D over on TikTok. He is actually hosting a giveaway on his channel over there on TikTok. Sorry, we're multi-streaming on a lot of platforms, so I'm kind of shouting you out everywhere here more. He's actually hosting a Dungeon Alchemist giveaway right now. So you could check out his channel, and there's an opportunity for you to win a copy of DA. So if you are in the market for DA and maybe, you know, want a chance to win one for free, check it out. But yeah, this map is beautiful. I think, Lalandra, you're really perfecting your craft, first off. Shaping of rooms, you know, really making the city feel like vibrant and alive and like well cared for. But then, yeah, all these added secrets I didn't even realize were there at a glance. I just kind of assumed this was like a door. I didn't even look at it really. But yeah, you put bookcases in a lot of places to hide that stuff. Very cool. Or the other secret door. What you got hiding in here, huh? Just the usual. Oh my gosh, Blue Mage, I am so sorry. Goodness, I hope you're safe. You and yours. That is so scary. This is so cool, by the way. You make my graveyard look sad by comparison, so thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. More, I appreciate all you do, my friend. In fact, I've been seeing a lot of people making their way into the Discord saying they're coming from your channel, your stream. So appreciate you being a hype man, man. I wish we had some kind of affiliate program or something. It would be dope, but unfortunately, the Steam doesn't make that conducive. You got inspired by my graveyard? I think this looks great. Very cool. Oh, I get that, Highland Lass. Running a 2-person session, you could maybe do like a shopping session, or maybe they could do a small like one-shot mission where their skills in particular are needed. You could just grab a map and throw them into something that you kind of spitball. I know you're skilled like that, but honestly, playing for 2 can get tricky, especially balancing it when you're used to 3. You know, I like it. I love that you have several hideouts or secrets. Honestly, you got me. I did not even realize there were so many. I found the one under the church. I thought that was the big whodunit, and I was like, I am so smart. I found the secret. Neener, and guess what? No, you got me, friend. There is a secret in almost like every structure. What's up, Tonder? What did you need, my friend? What about Discord? There's someone over on Twitter. Cool. Can you help them out? Oh, nice. Your previous message didn't come through, Tonder, so I'm sorry. I missed it. Apologize. Good. I appreciate you hyping us up and sharing us, because like we're a small company, an indie team, an indie dev team, right? There's like 10 people on the team. and we really don't do a whole lot of advertising, like very selective. So when y'all, share the word, share word of mouth about, Dungeon Alchemist, that you enjoy it or that you like it, or that it helps your campaigns, or whatever your success stories with it. First off, it warms my heart as a community manager, but secondly, knowing that you are talking about us to other DMs, your players who may become DMs, your friends and family members, it really does help us grow as a brand and a product overall. So thank you. Hey Roy, how you doing? Welcome back, my friend. What you been up to? Every time I see your name, I want to say Biv at the end. Roy G. Biv. Riot Sloth, this map is stunning. Lalandra definitely cooked with this build. I'm very impressed with it. Lalandra, congrats again, seriously. Can we get some love, some congratulations, some kind words, pats on the back for Lalandra, please? And remember, we can't all win the damn challenge, but we can all be winners. Oh, you've never seen Dungeon Alchemist before? Well, welcome to the community. My name is Mac. I'm the community manager. This is our official channel. We're showcasing maps from a bi-weekly map making contest we host called the Dam Challenge. When you save maps in Dungeon Alchemist, they're saved as our proprietary file format, .dam, which stands for Dungeon Alchemist Map. Dam, we lean into it a little bit, have fun with it. Dam streams, dam challenges, etc. But this map is the winning map in the challenge, and we have 6, 7 more to showcase after this. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. All the streams are AMA format, which means ask me anything. So if you have any questions about the app, how it can be used for your campaigns, what kind of stuff you can do with it, etc., please let me know. Hey, Moore, we'll see you later, man. Thank you for being here. Keith, I appreciate you. Thank you for the kind words. Lizzie Plant says, I got told about this from my DM, Ryan, who uses it and took us on a 3D tour. I was so amazed by it. I'm not a DM, but I had to go ended up DMing and made a little map the other week and ran a one-shot. Wow. That's so cool, Lizzie. Congratulations on running a one-shot. Honestly, I think that first step is always, kind of so cool. Roy, did you have an entry in the Dam Challenge? This week this stream we are only showcasing maps that were entered in the Hideout Dam Challenge. So if you do have a map in here, then yes, we'll be showcasing it. I really like the tile floor under like the different color floor here. Smart. One shot's going to be turn into a many shot. You know what? That's the best kind. When the one shot becomes like a long-term campaign. I hope it keeps going. My current game that I'm in with my friends started as a one shot where we were all just going to hang out together and vibe. And we had so much fun. We've continued playing once a month for now like 6, 7 months. And honestly, the game is so fun. It's really been enjoyable. I'm really hoping this group can go the distance and keep playing, for like years and maybe do a all the way to 20 or something. Well, Andrew, seriously, kudos, knuckles to you. You are absolutely killing it lately with your builds. So just keep up the good work. And I feel like you've really tapped into something, Your style is evolving and becoming, more distinct, if you will. And you definitely have a flair, and you add a lot of detail to your maps. So just keep up the great work. That's all I can really say about that. I mean, other than the thousands of amazing things I could say about this map. But unfortunately, we do have to adjourn and go look at other maps. So thank you so much. Love the walkways there, the sunken walls. That's so cool. You having fun building? Well, I'm having fun exploring it. My one shot is now 96 after 7 years. Wow. Okay. Roy, if it were any other stream, I'd open up your map from the workshop and take a look. But today is a stream to showcase maps in the Dam Challenge, which is a bi-weekly map making contest. This is the only stream where we showcase their maps. So it's a community showcase, but of maps in the contest. Yeah, Noldar, we have a wiki. Can you drop the wiki, Atlam, in Twitch, please? What is it like? You can show the map by streaming Discord to your player. I've made a little home to players. Honestly, Lizzie, I mean, if you have Discord and you can get into like first person, for instance, you could stream it like this to show the first person view, which a lot of players really love. And you said your DM showed you that, right? Another is the cinematic mode. And then lastly, I mean, because DA kind of works for limited play, like if you don't mind managing all your roles and like rules manually instead of it being automated, you could always just put the map in like a top-down perspective, turn on the grid, which is Alt-G is the hotkey, or it's under the menu under settings, grid, and you have different settings there, transparency, square, hex, on, off, color, etc. And then this is great for localized tabletop play, or even streaming it if you prefer to play in Dungeon Alchemist. You can come in here and hide the user interface under, what was that part? Under the view portion of the menu. Or Alt-Home is the hotkey, and then boom, you kind of have a very limited VTT in that regard. You know, it's perfect for local tabletop play or streaming over Discord, or you can even turn off the grid and just have it like this so your players see this view instead. Callie, that's a good question. That is a good question. I've been thinking about a challenge during the last couple of weeks. Hey, by the way, Sloth, I did not notice you followed earlier, and I apologize. My apologies. Thank you for the follow. Much appreciated for that. So I have a thought for the next Dam Challenge. I was thinking border. Let's just start diving into these left to right, top to bottom. So Blue Mage submitted their Dam Challenge map, albeit a little late, but I saw it pop up as I was prepping this morning, and I opened it up and downloaded it, and I was looking around in it, and then I moved on to another map, and then when I came back, it was gone, and I was like, wait, what? It was gone from the workshop. So I reached out to Blue Mage, and they're like, well, I felt bad because I entered late. And I'm like, you know what? I'll make an exception. So their map was super cool, and it had to be shared. So I'm glad you put it back up. Thank you. And I'm sorry if, you know, sharing that story embarrassed you a little bit. But honestly, this map's really cool, and it should be shared. So you have a forced perspective kind of environment here where you have a floating Baba Yaga hut. Hey, Noldar, by the way, our Discord, if you drop into our Discord, we have a question and a support forum, so you can get questions answered there. Any of our streams, you can tune in and just be like, hey, Mac, can I ask you a few questions about Dungeon Alchemist, ABC, XYZ? I'll sit there and answer them all. So any stream, you can tune in. We do 3 streams a week. 2 of them are multi-streams. One is on Saturday, the other one's on Monday. And then the other one is Discord exclusive. It's Wednesday. So, you know, we have several opportunities a week for you to tune in and actually get real-time support where I can show you and teach you in Dungeon Alchemist. Hey, Bad Sloth, you should download our demo. It's free. It's on Steam. It allows you to try before you buy and kind of test drive it on your system to see how it'll run. Dungeon Alchemist, I'll be honest, is a bit of a resource hog, especially because we're in early access. So not fully optimized yet, you know? And some of the assets you can use in Dungeon Alchemist are the ones you download from the workshop come from community shared assets. There's actually a repository of over 9,500 assets to expand the already 6,500 stock assets in Dungeon Alchemist. These ones, many of them don't necessarily fit our style or art, aesthetic, but they can expand the themes and give you all sorts of different flares and, cultures. Additionally, going into like modern sci-fi, cyberpunk, there's spaceships in here, there's airships, there's water ships, there's all sorts of tokens. There's a repository of tokens. It's like almost 900 to 1,000 tokens now. In the demo, you can export, but you cannot save. So if you go to File and Export, when you export it, you can export it for any of the virtual tabletops, or you can export it as an image, which then it saves it as an image for play. That's kind of the point of the demo, Dag. You know what I mean? It's kind of limited as a demo. But it is a great way to test drive it on your computer before you buy it. Maybe it may not work on their computer if they're particular specs. You know what I mean? Gotcha. In the demo, you can't save. In the full version of DA, you can save, you can export, you can access the Steam Workshop, which has over 11,600 maps and 9,600 assets. Too beefy for its own good. I mean, that's awesome. So basically the size of the map and the detail and like animation and color and lighting and everything, the more detailed and big the map is, the more resource intensive it is on your computer. So the more powerful your computer, the larger maps you can usually make. It's almost a direct correlation. Honestly, I could speak highly of Dungeon Alchemist all day, and I feel like that's kind of disingenuous. I kind of am biased as the community manager, but I do love the product. I love the community. We're a very wholesome bunch, and our product speaks for itself. But that being said, I could let the community speak for the product too. How many people here use Dungeon Alchemist for their campaigns? And let them know. Let's do. Why don't you tell them something you dislike about Dungeon Alchemist, but something you like about Dungeon Alchemist? And if you can't think of two, then or both, let me know. But honestly, back to the map at hand here. Damn, it's pretty. And I think it's a great idea. You found it because of someone else streaming? Well, that's awesome. Appreciate that. It makes... You know what would be really cool on this, Blue? There's the skybox. Honestly, you're not distracting me at all, Sloth. That's my job as the community manager, to answer questions and provide insight, support. Kind of a hype man, so to speak. Lots of things. No, this is one thing. The only thing I'm recommending, because I want to seal off the map so I can essentially go on like a... Oop, I accidentally let go. No. Okay. I let go of the skybox, so I'm going to place it again. You see this? Gonna make a kind of improvised skybox for this. Check this out. This is just an amazing perspective. By the way, if any of you are like wondering, hey, can I stream like this view, for instance, to my players? Yes, you can. Keep in mind, it will have the UI at the top, you know, where it shows the camera buttons and then the little dot in the center, not the green one. That's actually a highlighter I have on my mouse. So that's very particular to my build, but the little dot in the center of that. But honestly, Blue Mage, this is why I see potential in this map. It's very beautiful. And you have this kind of like cool little setting area where you can take different shots, essentially set pieces with the Baba Yaga, you know, piece in the background, which makes it even cooler. You can't toggle this UI, no. This one you can't hide yet. When you take a picture, though, it hides the UI. So, like, if you're in here, right? And then you take a screenshot, all of the UI parts of the screenshot are gone. So, take one of those. I can open it. Where is it? Here it is. Boom. That's the one I just took. Perfect for like a handout. This looks cool. Geronimo, if you know how to turn off the UI in that mode, I would be so happy to see it. I'm really excited for roofing, y'all. Okay. Let's move on to another map, shall we? Thank you so much for submitting this map. And honestly, I mean, if a map's submitted like the morning of, I usually will wave it through. I know you put some effort into it, so if y'all put work into your map and maybe don't meet the deadline, but it's still time before the stream, just reach out to me, let me know, and we will talk about it. I'm pretty lenient, you know. Alt Home will, I mean, you can remove the UI, right? And then in this interface, though, you can record, but you don't have like as many angles as the cinematic camera or like a first-person camera. So yes, you can record without it, but it's limited to these kind of specific sizes. You know what I mean? Lalandra, thank you. Appreciate the kind words. You know, Dungeon Alchemist isn't for everyone either. Like, I know some people prefer different tools or different style of art. You know, not everyone likes the 3D for theirs. Some people just like flat and top down, or like the hand-drawn look, or even like there's like the simple like sketch look, right? Some people just prefer different styles, and that's totally fine. Dungeon Alchemist isn't going to be for everyone, and that's something I've accepted a long time ago as a community manager, but also as like a content creator and, you know, a streamer. Not everyone is going to enjoy your content or you as a person. And so like I am just so grateful to the community members we do have, and the people who share their maps, their artwork, so to speak, your cartography with the world. Oh, this one's really cool. Honestly, it's a really amazing entry, and it would have been a serious contender for a win had Sailor Yugoth not just won the last one. So I have an unwritten rule. It's a judge rule, right? Not a player rule. Anyone can enter as much as they want, but they cannot win twice in a row. So you can enter every single damn challenge as much, you know, that's fine. You can only enter once though per damn challenge. And you also, sorry, you just can't win 2 in a row. Render flexibility. What do you mean? Tonder, have you seen some of the like sci-fi and cyberpunk maps and like Fallout maps being shared now on the workshop? It's crazy what you can do now thanks to community shared assets. So I agree. They've really just kind of like turned it up to 11 because the tool's versatile, you know, especially if you have time to place everything by hand. But I do agree, like one of the main reasons like tools like Dungeon Draft or Incarnate have such a leg up on us is they have such a vast repository of assets. They have, you know, 7 years on us with community assets and their own. So it's a big leg up on us, you know, and I'll be the first to admit it. Them being, you know, out of early access and being a full baked product, it definitely is kind of hard to compare to something in the oven. But I do think Dungeon Alchemist is very full featured despite being in early access, and it brings a lot to the table, especially if you have time to dive into it. But as the quick and easy simple tool to make a map, also if you need you know, don't have time or want to just download one from the workshop, it's great for that too. I agree. It kind of suits a lot of needs, best of both worlds. You know, if you want to waste hours and hours making the perfect, you know, map that you have in your brain and represent it in real, like a space like this, you can. Or if you need something really quick, you can either download one from the workshop or whip it up using the proc gen. I love that about DA. And a lot of other tools have, you know, similar versatility too. So it's great. I think every map making tool kind of has its own pros and cons. There are some that are, you know, a little bit better than others in some things. Like I think Incarnate absolutely slays when it comes to world maps, like regional and world maps, right? Us particularly, like we're better at like localized and smaller areas, towns, villages, but you can do cities and region maps if you use things like forced perspective, right? Yeah, this skybox is a skybox available on the workshop. Anyone can download it. If you just go to Steam Workshop and click Browse Assets, if you type skybox, there's a bunch that have been shared by our community. What you want to look for is the one-way skyboxes, though. The one like the universe here. They're great because you can see into them from the outside as like kind of like a almost like a godly perspective, so to speak. But then when you're in first person or a cinematic camera inside, you can't see out. So it's a great way to encapsulate a small map or a village to make it seem more like big instead of seeing that kind of gray mass out in the distance on the edge of the map. But there's a bunch of skyboxes in here that have been shared by various creators in our community. What did Sloth say? Sorry, what? Hey, Sloth, welcome to the Damn Fam. So you got it? So when you know officially get a copy of Dungeon Alchemist, we kind of have a club. Everyone who owns it is part of the Damn Fam, or one of 3 factions, technically. We have a infighting. No, I'm just kidding. It's one of 3 factions: the Damn Fam, the Damnation, or the Damily. The Damily. Anyway, so you can pick your faction, and then, you know, if you have any questions, you know, with your interactions with Dungeon Alchemist, first off, any stream, feel free to drop in AMA format, ask me anything. I will do my best to provide you assistance. If you, you know, need assistance between then, we have the wiki. We have a YouTube full of, you know, tips and tutorial videos. We also have our Discord, which is kind of like the central kind of hub for our community members. People share images and maps and 3D models. They also... There's sections to get support, question forum, support forum. We share announcements and other information there. Damnation. In fact, everyone, what's your faction? Let's hear it. One of us. One of us. No, I'm just kidding. Sloth, honestly, I'm glad you've been vibing with the community, vibing with the stream, and with Dungeon Alchemist as a whole. I'm just here for you to support you in your map making journey. So if you need any help at all, let me know. Otherwise, we're going to keep looking at this amazing map made by Sailor, Yugoth. I love this just like hidden world underneath. This is probably my favorite part of the map. Like, I don't think a lot of people realize this was here. Like you see the pyramid on the outside, you're like, whoa. But then there's like a whole thing inside. Let's take a look at the top down. How am I going to be a dad without a fam? I'm your dad now. Look at me. So I see a kawaii face over on YouTube and a bunch of emojis that are crossed out in the chat. So I don't know what your name is particularly, but I'm going to call you kawaii. So did Dungeon Alchemist have an update? Because I see floor levels. This here was actually built by hand using objects from the object menu. When you disable collisions in the object menu, it allows you to raise them up and down. So this creator got really clever and started kind of stacking things on top of each other and made a ziggurat out of essentially dimensional objects. These right here. So they got incredibly creative and put a ton of time into building this. But many objects snap into place or snap together, or you can move them very meticulously and put them by each other or raise them up and down and align them, especially if you use the collision toggle. So when you disable collisions, you enable the fun, as we like to say on the stream. Kind of like a cheat code. It does several things. It allows you to merge objects together, unless they're on the edge of the map, of course. Making new and unique kind of variations of objects. Merging objects together allows you to kind of create cool mashups, right? Now, it also allows you to scale objects far below or above their normal capacity, as long as they're not locked to begin with. And then lastly, it allows you to raise and lower objects. So using these three tools to their, advantage, they essentially built this entire dimensional ziggurat. Oh, it does. It kind of does look like the blueprint of Alien versus Predator. You know what? You're kind of taking me back, Sloth, because that's funny. Like, I remember watching that movie in the theater with my wife. It was like one of our first dates. So, but yeah, they had like a whole pyramid under like the Antarctic ice. It's crazy, right? But this video here was made by a community member. The update that you're asking about, though, Kawaii, were the multi-level update that'll allow you to use the room tool to generate multi-level structures. That is going to be available, most likely, at least the first portion of it, in July. The second portion will be available a few months after that. The update is so large, the devs decided to break it into two parts. There's a lot in it. So the portion A of Fun with Objects will include multi-level roofing, underground structures, above ground structures, a bunch of object-based features and quality of life improvements. And then a few months later, Fun with More Objects, or Fun with Objects B, will be released, including even more features for that. It was essentially a training ground for the Predators, yes. In the movie, basically, Predators kind of helped humans advance their civilization, but they would use them as like a kind of a place to introduce the aliens, because the aliens would host on humans, and then it would become like a breeding ground where they could hunt the aliens en masse for training and approving, like a proving ritual. Like a coming of age ritual for a predator. And so they had this elaborate like prison setup with like an alien queen. Sorry for the spoilers. The movie's like 20 years old. So, and in an underground pyramid and they would essentially, that's why there was that's how they explained pyramids all over the planet, was they helped different societies build these pyramids, and inside of them were like an incubator for an alien queen that would like then spawn tons of aliens. I know people will say spoilers on things that are like years and years old, and I feel bad you weren't born then or around then or haven't watched it since then, but it's like, it's kind of on you at this point after years and years and years. Like, I honestly, right, that movie's, I really enjoyed that one. I didn't like the second one. It kind of felt rushed. So you shouldn't ruin the Sixth Sense. But yeah, this ziggurat is stunning. The capstone, the use of the dimensional like objects to make this is great. And then the hidden like Fey realm inside is the icing on the cake. Like, it's such a beautiful map. Let me in. Okay, I gotta do it in first person, I guess. It's the only way. In we go. Boop. But this part here is so cool. And the outside's already amazing, but then you have this hidden inside the superstructure. Like, what? What? Oh my gosh, at the end of The Sixth Sense, when all of the Mandalorians show up on Navarro and help Mando and Grogu escape the Navarro bounty hunters. Yes, it was so amazing. I loved it. So, Sloth, are you a DM? DM, GM? Let's pull up the next map from the damn challenge, shall we? We got a lot to look at and very little time. Thank you, Sailor Yugoth, for sharing this map. Much appreciated, good sir. Okay, who was it that shared this one? Sorry, I should have looked at that. This one's Revs. Rev is a fantastic map maker and has a lot of fun ideas that usually just have a very simple aesthetic, but give you a lot of oomph for encounters. That's what I love about his maps. Like, I think maps that are kind of busy can kind of end up being too distracting for players or take too much time to make as a DM. And so with this, he hits you with a cool kind of jungle camp where they are seemingly, you know, maybe digging for treasure or whatever in here, or what else is there? A hideout. Honestly, I just like that you could use this for so many different encounters. There's some bandits that have taken up refuge in these caves. Why? What are they doing? What's their purpose? Very cool map. Interesting verticality here with the cliff face. I do think that is the irony of Dungeon Alchemist. It really is kind of a double-edged sword, if you will. Like it's like kind of like a monkey's paw. You get this tool that can make maps in moments and save you tons of time, but the irony is you will want to spend hours and hours making maps because it's so, kind of cathartic, fun, in a way to just really bring these spaces to life for your players. So, forever DM of 20 years who has finally found a group to let me play. Now scheduling with DM is kind of getting spotty, so now I've stepped up as DM to side campaign. Oh my gosh, Sloth. Well, first off, I commend thee, good sir, for stepping up and filling the role, and for kind of being for being a forever DM, because without you, players around the world wouldn't be introduced to D&D. So thank you for your sacrifice, good sir. It really can be, Geronimo. Like, you, my good friend, you are so skillful at map making. Like, oh my goodness. I honestly wonder where you come up with your ideas. Do you just spend time, like, putting objects together to see what they look like? Do you start with like a base, just start mashing things together? Because it's almost like you treat objects like putty and you just kind of mold something out of them and make new interesting ones constantly. You've really taken the collision like ability to the next level. It is like a Zen garden though. I'll make a lot of maps that never see the light of day, that, you know, never will be played on. They're more just for me to relax, flex my map maker muscle and my brain and my head and my mind. Oof, what do you mean? Bro, you are so good at map making. You really are. Don't sell yourself short. You've been having a very unique eye and perspective. I know that you, you know, are very passionate about your maps and the Dungeon Alchemist community. Bro, like, honestly, I don't even know how you come up with some of the contraptions you do. I'm kind of jealous that, like, all the things you make. Like, okay, as much as I have hours and hours and thousands of hours in Dungeon Alchemist, there are definitely far superior map makers to me in the community. Okay, I understand Dungeon Alchemist probably better than most, you know, and I know it like in and out backwards. I know all the bugs, I know all the workarounds, but I mean, some of you have such an eye and a talent for map making. I am just constantly gobsmacked. Like, I'll see a map and I will gasp. My wife will be like, "Are you okay?" I'll audibly gasp. I'll go, "Oh, I just saw a cool map." And she's like, "Oh, again?" I'm like, "Come on, I'm sorry. I like what they make, okay?" My group has 2 campaigns running at the same time with 2 separate DMs. That keeps us from burning out. That's smart. What's the alternation on the schedules like that? Is it like each of them are running simultaneously, or is it like every other month, or is it like, what's the breakdown on that? Oh, excuse me. I forget I have this one touch mute now, so I got to get better at it. I like all these like little, you know, just like side rooms with different things going on. So this is probably like the henchman's room, right? Hench person, right? Can't call them minions because they're not those a little annoying yellow guys. Can't call them henchmen because that's kind of sexist. Don't even get me started on the word goon. Hench person from now on is the safe thing to say. I love this. Perfect little secret hideout base hidden inside this pillar structure. It could be like abandoned ruins that they cleaned out and retrofitted for their own purpose. Every other week. Nice, that's cool. So you basically are only prepping 1 session a month as the DM, not 2. But the other DM is, you get 2 sessions a month because the other DM is doing it. Now, are these in the same world? Are they 2 separate groups? Are you running the same like the same PCs on both groups? I'm confused how this works. Can you explain more of the details of this, please? Is it 2 separate parties and player character groups that are just kind of running their own worlds and whatever? Or could they possibly interact with each other or bump into each other's shenanigans? The table I'm on, the DM streams here on Twitch, and his name is GM Eric, and he's got like a bunch of games, right? Like 6-7 games a week going on or something like that. He's a professional GM, and his world Toivoa, his homebrew world, like all the people in it can potentially interact with each other at points, and they could like run into each other. The different parties might have to like compete over missions or something. Kind of interesting. You had crossovers in the past, but they're two separate groups, two separate worlds. Probably best to separate it, as it might get in like too confusing with time. Really like this map. I think Rev did an amazing job. A perfect little jungle, you know, hideout. All right, let's move on to the next one. This one's by Mathman. Save me, Mathman. It really is perfect for VTT play. Simple, several encounters, to the point. You have an entry, scale entrance point, a downward point, and then inside several rooms to experience and encounters inside. So you could have like 4 or 5 combat encounters, or maybe a trap and, you know, 3 encounter, you know, a trap or 2 and some combat encounters. Be great. I really enjoyed this one a lot. So you have here like this kind of exterior area, right? But there's some verticality in this map. It's deceptive. If you're not paying attention, you won't realize there's multiple levels. So you've got kind of some entry points, right, for different shops and buildings here. Let's get in first person. Walk around. This dock was placed by hand, each of these one at a time. But they are in snap points, so it's just a matter of duplicating. It does. Well, I think the hideouts kind of all feel like they could be similarly linked or part of like a same world. But I do love when the maps just click and have a lot of detail. The verticality in this one's fun. You got some multiple level structures here. So the top is kind of like a bunkhouse, right? Maybe a lookout post for some guards on, you know, patrol or on duty. And here you have like an elevator going up and down. Where does this place go? Crazy, like all the different places you can explore and go into. By the way, we're kind of over the halfway mark now, and I just wanted to make sure my mic still sounds good, as this is my first major stream with the new mic. So just wanted to make sure no one's having any bugs or issues with it. It sounds clear, crisp, loud, or loud enough, I should say. Well, thank you. My new shiny sounds great. Thank you. My precious. So Lizzie over on Facebook asks, how do you find these maps, please, in the resources? Or are they not in the assets? Are you asking, how do you find some of the models that are in this build? So a lot of these are stock. There likely are some non-stock assets. But first off, when you open a map from the workshop, if you download any map from the workshop, so in this case, I'll just show you the maps part of the Dam Challenge. These can be found in the Dam Challenge channel in our Discord, or on the workshop. If you just type Dam Challenge, you can find them, or if you search by their names. Now, that being said, I will gladly share the links if anyone is interested. Give me one moment. But with that in mind, if you download a map from the workshop from within Dungeon Alchemist, when you open the map the first time, it'll prompt you to download any 3D models that were from the workshop as well. So that's kind of an automated feature that saves you time, so you don't need to go hunt down tons of models or 3D extra 3D models. So if there's some that you look at and you like them, you can just download the map and then it gets them all. So that's kind of a quick way to circumvent, you know, having to hunt down a certain aesthetic, is find a map you like with a bunch of assets in it and do that. Now, that being said, I would go, looking at this, the majority of these are stock. But what was done here to, Lizzie, have you used the Steam Workshop before? Because if not, I want to show you how. Really love like how in depth, and there's so much to this place. There's like a whole mess of encounters, and then of course a secret room down here that we still haven't gotten to. I got to get to it in a moment. So Lizzie, inside of Dungeon Alchemist, you can click Steam Workshop and then you can browse maps, right? And if you browse a map and you download it, if the map has any assets on it that weren't stock, like ones we made and provided in Dungeon Alchemist, if they were shared by the community on Steam Workshop, it'll prompt you to download them. They're free to download, but you know, as long as you just got to make sure you have the amount of data and bandwidth to be able to download them. Some maps only have a few megabytes, some have like a gigabyte or more, so just kind of be careful. Now, if you go into here and go to browse assets, you can search, you know, sofa or ship, boat. There's lots of ways to kind of expand your library with assets that aren't stock. But just remember, the search terms are only as broad as the creator who uploaded them, because if they didn't put like several names or tags in it, the search will only find what's in the description and the name of it. So you gotta kind of get clever with how you search for things. Try several search terms each time. They can, Noldar, but it's mainly because if they're poorly optimized. That's nothing against the creator sharing maps or sharing assets. It's just sometimes people will download an asset from a third party like Sketchfab and then upload it to the workshop without optimizing it. And as a result, the asset will be hundreds of megabytes. I found one the other day that was like almost a gigabyte. It was insanely big. This one's 191 megabytes. So when you click on the asset, you could see the download size. Keep in mind, when you get an asset this large, it has to preload into your RAM when it loads DA each time. So the average DA map, when you export it, is like 3 to 5 megabytes. This increases the size of the map exponentially. So some assets on the workshop, very well optimized, only a couple of megabytes. Some of them are hundreds of megabytes. So just be careful when you're downloading them. And a lot of people, they see these, they see free, and they're like, oh, I want this, I want this, I want this. It's a kind of a trap, if you will, because the more assets you download, the poorer Dungeon Alchemist will run, even if you only, you know. So what I recommend is downloading the ones you need as you need them for your builds, unsubscribing from them, or downloading the map and getting the ones in it you need and using it, and then unsubscribing from them when you notice performance issues. We've done a lot to optimize them. Unfortunately, we have no control over users uploading a poorly optimized asset, because a 3D model is a very broad, you know, piece of, there's several different file types. And if a user uploads an asset that's poorly optimized, we don't have any control over it, but we have given you tools to see the size of them so you can make a decision, an informed decision as a map maker, to choose if you want something that big. Oh, there's several ways to clean them up. So if you've downloaded and subscribed to an asset, right? You can unsubscribe right from within the asset. That's one way, okay? You can unsubscribe from the asset within the Steam user interface and under like workshop tabs, and you can unsubscribe from all assets simultaneously. So in like here, I'm just in the browser version, but in Steam, it's essentially the same. You can go to the workshop tab under Dungeon Alchemist, and then it says your files here. You can go to subscribed items, and you could just unsubscribe from them one at a time, or you can hit unsubscribe from all and do it en masse. There's several ways to do it, but you can do it directly within the Dungeon Alchemist interface or en masse in the Steam interface. So we have done a lot to optimize the performance around third-party assets, including streamlining their performance and how they load and making them not offload as much and things like that. So it's like it doesn't offload every time, just the first time, for instance, but if an asset is poorly optimized, we have no control over it. Really, the best we can hope is people report it and then we remove it. But we really don't want to remove people's art or assets, especially if they're using them crucially in their maps, unless they're copyrighted material. So if you see assets on the workshop that are like definitely a no-no, you know, report them. Let me know too, and I'll remove them. But the thing is the workshop expansion, the add-on of the asset importer, which is right here, this allows you to import 3D models into your own copy of Dungeon Alchemist. You don't need to be reliant on the workshop. So you can import them and just keep them in your local collection, or you can publish them and share them. So for instance, like this roof here, my wife made this with my guidance and instruction because I used it for a build. And then I uploaded it and shared it to the workshop. I gave it a name. I gave it some keywords, gave it areas where it might show up in the object menu, put some colliders on it. And then lastly, I set it to public and gave it a description and shared it. Honestly, yeah, the trouble assets are few and far between, and we've given our community tools to help manage that and kind of avoid it by, you know, if you see an asset that's over 20 megabytes, in most cases, I typically avoid it. Hey, Dutch Dungeons, I didn't see your follow earlier. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. But the asset importer allows you to import STL, FBX, and GLTF/GLB files. So if you have any sculpting or 3D modeling experience, or you do 3D printing, you probably have the ability to make or source your own, or, you know, and you can find them on websites as well. But we encourage you to be careful when you're sharing assets that are, you know, may have a copyright or a licensing issue if they're not Creative Commons. So make sure you're only sharing assets that are Creative Commons or have permission to be shared, and that you properly accredit the creator so you don't get in trouble. I love this tower. Look at this. Very cool. Oh. The beacons are lit! Gondor calls for aid! What is my new stream microphone, my man? It is the Wave 3 from Elgato. I got the Wave 3 and the wing arm. Hold on. I got the Wave mic arm LP. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 axes you can adjust the mic on to get it like so much movement and versatility. I also got their pop filter and I got their suspension mount. So the whole kit and caboodle. They have better mics even than this one. I just like, they have XLR mics and a higher tier than this one, and even USB, but I felt like this was more than adequate. My previous mic, I got it for like $100 20 years ago, and it's been great. I don't need like the top of the line. And actually, this was provided by work, so I'm very happy with that too. They hooked me up. So it's a nice mic. It is very nice. And I could have done it like overhung, like a downward angle, or like it would have been like just like right, I guess, here or something. But I just didn't want it covering my face or my whatever. Anyway, I like it like this. This is how I've always had the mic, is below. And the way this arm works, my keyboard isn't covered, my screen isn't covered. I have so much more like range of motion and visibility. Before, the swing arm covered like 1/2 of my curved screen during the stream. So I'd have to like look around it. I'm sure you guys have seen me doing this little like dance when I'm typing and looking. When you unsubscribe, they're deleted. I'm almost 100% positive. Look at that little secret there. This is like one of my favorite parts of the build. It just felt so fun and organized here, and like, what is this, like a speakeasy back here? I didn't really understand it. It's like this crazy pub with tons of people, but it's through a secret passage. I said border, by the way, for the dam challenge earlier. Border was the theme I thought of. I don't know if anyone's in line with that, but you could do like a border crossing, a border between two countries or kingdoms. Border. It's okay. I'm sure the shine off of my scalp was blinding you and distracted you, so I get it. Hey, TMZ over on TikTok, I saw your question. Just give me one moment and I will answer it for you, okay? So Dungeon Alchemist allows verticality to a degree with the like room generation tools and the terrain tools already. Now, if you see in this build, there's like stairs, multi-level structures, there's sunken pits. This person has done some building in the past. They know some advanced building concepts, okay? So they, right out of the box, Dungeon Alchemist typically will just generate floors on one level unless you say, hey, I want you to raise or lower this. Now in this structure, it probably won't work here because it's already got a bunch of stuff going on. But you can raise the building before you generate. You can sink it into the ground before you generate it, or you can just generate it at land level. Now that being said, if you want to build multi-levels right now, it's done by hand. These walls are objects. So Dungeon Alchemist kind of has like a cool introductory way to use it where it's simple, easy to use, but allows you to grow into it and get more advanced with time. This is a very advanced concept. They put each wall in there by hand. They're a wall located under objects, under structural, and then you go to freestanding walls. So every wall that's in this menu that attaches to these, floor plan rooms, you can just grab one and place it almost anywhere that it'll fit. You can disable collisions. It'll go a lot of different places. You can rotate it. You could scale it up and down. You can raise and lower it. So you kind of have sky is the limit once you've disabled collisions with objects. You have a lot of versatility. Now, that being said, TMZ, our next update, which should be launching soon, like in the next few months, most likely July, will include multi-level room generation and roofing. So you'll be able to like generate multi-level structures using the room tool. So it'll be much more straightforward to accommodate multi-level structures. You can build underground, above ground. You can be able to go 5 levels up and 5 levels down. You'll be able to do flat roofing, angled roofing, all sorts of stuff. So it'll essentially be much more straightforward after the next update. Essentially, it'll be combined directly within this tool or a roofing tool that'll be added. Let me show you a couple of these different things you'll be able to do. So like this is a tavern, a new room type we're adding called Wonky. But the tavern features multi-level where there's like a sunken, tavern level with an above like balcony or mezzanine or whatever where you can kind of see down below. This also kind of leads, gives credence to things like the traditional tavern or inn where the above level has like rooms and then you can see down to the floor below. You'll be able to do stuff like that. Anyway, sorry, I was reading y'all's chat to make sure I'm caught up. TMZ, if you have any questions, please let me know. But yeah, you'll essentially be able to traverse, underground into like a sewer system, or have above ground with multiple tiers and stuff like that. Though you do not really play inside of Dungeon Alchemist. Dungeon Alchemist is typically where you make the map, and then you can record, like videos or take screenshots and use those as like handouts or like immersive backdrops for your players. But you would typically want to play, either in person on like a TV tabletop or a printed map, or online through like a virtual tabletop like Foundry, Fantasy Grounds, Roll20, because they're like a digital interface that supports our maps. So Noldar, you can do that right now if you, Dag kind of said it, but if you disable object collisions and grab any light source, you can just put it inside of an object, raise it up. You can turn up the brightness of lights, change their glow to different colors. So that's kind of the method people will do. They'll make like glowing mushrooms or statues, pedestals, draw attention to items by hiding a light source inside of it. There's also invisible light sources available on the Steam Workshop shared by community members. But they kind of look like a pin, like a dime, so you can still kind of see them. Lastly, our next update will include truly invisible light sources called abstract lights. Essentially, you'll be able to put these lanterns, there's two types, one's a spotlight and one's a lantern, in the map, and they will add light to the map, making it feel more bright, bold, but at the same time, don't export with the lantern present. So the light they cast is still persistent upon export or when you're walking around in first person, but the light housing is not. Oh man, we honestly, the thing about Dungeon Alchemist is we're very community oriented. A lot of like the add-on features that we've added to our roadmap throughout our development. We started as a Kickstarter, and we, promised a bunch of, essentially stretch goals, updates for our roadmap, themed updates, right? So our last update was titled Magic. And the one before that, I believe, was the Treasury. We have all these different themes that expand upon the aesthetic, give you different features, different items, different room types, different biomes. So every update keeps adding more and more and more. So the next major update, Fun with Objects, is so big, we broke it into two pieces. But it will include multi-level, like we discussed, and a bunch of other features that were actually never promised or planned during our Kickstarter. They were just highly suggested and brought up by our community often, so we decided to add it. But you'll be able to get like all sorts of very intricate roofing after the update. Angled roofing, flat roofing, patios. At this point, I can't speak to if any new weather conditions will be added in the next update. That's a very good question, but for right now, I haven't seen anything on the roadmap about it. Though I do think we'll add more weather conditions with time. One thing, though, you may want to consider is if you run your map through like a virtual tabletop, for instance, Foundry, there's tons of modules that add weather options. Like one of them I've used in the past is FX Master. It's a free module that gives you tons of different like weather and kind of animation effects, like birds flying over, clouds, fog, rain, spiders crawling on the floor, little things like that. Hey Dag, I don't know if you've seen, but the very first iteration of the shipbuilding module is going to be in the next update in Fun with Objects. So the kind of foundational layers for it. So essentially, one of our major updates planned is called the High Seas, which will have, ships, as you'd imagine, oceans, islands. And I see High Seas expanding into things like airships, high seas, and also astral ships, because it makes sense, right? Now, that being said, in behind the scenes, we've been working on a new feature called the modular object tool, which when they put it out, they realized that, man, there's not a whole lot of objects that can take advantage of this. So it's a quick way to link together objects that normally snap together. One moment. One second. Sorry, I just heard a slamming noise. I'm just going to check on it. I am back. So this tool allows you to quickly link objects together, like tracks, pipes, things like that, that usually you put together by hand and snap together. You grab them one at a time and drag them over. This will speed up that process. Now, this tool is being expanded into several different objects. There's like these cool little, like kind of boiler widget artificer pipe things that looks like something from a Wonka factory, you know, a potion brewing machine, or any number of things. It could be like pneumatic mail, anything with this. It's cool. You know, Dungeon Scrawl is really cool. I love their art style, but I do think, you know, we definitely have them beat when it comes to just overall speed. And the fact that you can export your map for Roll20 and then import it into Roll20, you know, with lighting, line of sight, walls, windows, doors, with the script like that, it's pretty easy, right? Sloth, are you using Roll20 Pro or Plus at all? Canvas of King's art style is so pretty, like, and it's a solo dev, like, props to them. Like, seriously, I think that's, you know, they're able to put out a lot of updates because of the basic art style, but I love it. It's very clean and pretty. Like, honestly, like, every different map maker, the way I look at them, you're going to have an art style you prefer. Maybe you like the hand-drawn look, right? Or maybe you like the 3D look. Maybe you're looking for something that's more art, you know, like, or a different aesthetic or theme. You know, but as a DM, right, I think of like, I say this a lot on the stream, and I'm sorry for those who've heard it 100 times, but I think of DMing like, you know, any type of, like, let's say like any kind of job or career or whatever. If you are a carpenter, for instance, it's very hard to do your job with only a hammer, right? You need a saw. You need glue, you need clamps, you need a level, you need all, like, several different saws, you know what I mean? To be an effective carpenter, the more, you know, if you have tools and experience, it helps you out. Experience is part of the factor, but the correct tools to do your job can help do it, you know, make it that much easier. Now, when I think of DMing, you know, a map making tool, sometimes one isn't all you need. Maybe you need one that's better for regional or world maps, or one that has a certain style to fit the need of your campaign. Or maybe, you know, you just need one that gets you maps quickly because your players are constantly routing themselves around your plans with their shenanigans. No matter what the reason, you know, it's nice to have a couple map makers in your belt to be able to draw from and be able to use for different scenarios. You know, maybe you want a virtual tabletop, maybe you want you know, a couple map making tools, or a sound tool, a soundscape type thing, you know, maybe a subscription to something with, you know, different maps available. I mean, all of these tools are resources that help you as a DM, GM, kind of be a more effective storyteller and producer, because not, I mean, especially when you're playing online, you're kind of producing a whole event for your players, and even in person too. Man, I've seen some crazy stuff where people do like lights and the smoke, and like the walls look like a castle or a dungeon, and they have like animated battle maps that like move and rise and do stuff. I am definitely not discounting in-person play either. It's like a whole art style in its own. So with that in mind, I just think that like no DM, like, I mean, nothing to, you know, any of the DMs here. It's really hard to be effective with just one tool in your belt, right? So sometimes you do need more. Like, and I mean, even as a DM playing 5e, you need the player's handbook for the player and the DMG for you. The monster manual helps quite a bit too. These things are just like tools in your tool belt, right? Exactly. I definitely don't see other map making tools as competition, but complementary, for sure. For sure. Because every map making tool kind of has its own niche or kind of purpose. At the end of the day, you as a GM may need more to get what you need out of the tools, you know? Though we do hope to one day be the only map making tool you ever need. But until then, this is the secret I was trying to get to, and I couldn't figure out how. Oh, there it is. Jeez. Like a secret chamber over here. Players would have to nail some sort of crazy investigation check to find this. Water was over here. Okay. This map is cool, but we need to check out some others. Lots of little secrets and cubbies. Very good, beautiful top-down map. Perfect for encounters, except for the areas that are kind of buried, which means you'd have to pull them back, save it as a separate map, and have two scenes, one for the underground layers and one for the above. Moving on. Okay. Hey, see you later, TMZ. The SWAT trend? Oh no, I've been swatted before. It sucks. I've also been doxxed before. It kind of stinks, but ultimately that was years ago. I don't know. It is what it is. But anyway, see you later, TMZ. Thank you for being here. No, the sound was a window was open in my son's room, and there's like negative pressure from the wind because it's kind of windy outside, and it pulled his door shut and slammed it. So I just went in there and helped him close it because it was kind of jammed. You don't know what swatting or doxing is? I mean, you could always Google it, or you could ask. But so basically, online personas, content creators, and even famous people, or just anyone really can have this happen to them. Essentially, there's a trend where people find it funny to waste public resources and call the cops on homes, claiming that there's some sort of hostage situation or someone's in danger at the home, their life is threatened. So it gets a SWAT response to go out and break into the home and essentially attack the people who are doing nothing. So there's many instances of this happening all around the world and in the US, primarily to content creators, streamers, YouTubers. They often will get, you know, sometimes there'll be people who have a grudge against them for what a reason or another, and they'll do this, and people have been killed from it. But people are starting to get arrested because there's being more and more laws created around preventing it. But during a live stream, yeah, you could get like people can look up your IP or figure out where you live and then call the police on you. And like, I don't know. I've actually tried to call the police in the areas that I've lived to inform them that I stream and that, you know, especially when I had lots and lots of viewers at one point on a platform, like hundreds of viewers per stream. And I tried to inform them preemptively, hey, this is me, my address, this is, I stream, and people have threatened to dox me and swat me. I just wanted to let you guys know that, you know, if it comes up, maybe just give me a call instead of breaking into my house. But they're like, well, what if it is a threat? And I'm like, but what if it isn't? Like, it could be 50-50. There's technology that allows people to figure out where you live pretty easily now. Anyway, the police were less than cooperative. I also got doxxed, which means an organization gave away all my private information publicly without my permission or consent. I got invited as a press pass for E3 several years ago. And then E3, they listed the entire press list publicly on their website accidentally, including first and last names, phone numbers, emails, addresses. It was a complete accident. Now, some people dox intentionally, sometimes it's accidental. I like how they made the secret door here have no attachment. It's just merely immersive. The cool thing about this is the wall doesn't have the posts here in the center point indicating there's a secret. It's immersive. You, as the storyteller, the DM, if your players made it in here and found this area and maybe got a passive, you know, investigation, or maybe they did an investigation check or whatever, and found that there might be a secret passage here, or they might have been aware of it prior and then just found it, then they could reveal the passage and go in. It doesn't always have to be directly connected to the wall physically in DA. It could be a separate room just on the other side of this mountain or immersive piece. Alternatively, too, something like this, you could throw a rock on it. Let's see here. Let me find a stone. I just did it a little bit at a time. I wanted it to feel kind of more like a big piece, but this is just a quick thing. You could even merge them together to make them feel like more, or move them around a little bit so it's like not as uniform. You could even use different rocks, but at the end of the day, it just kind of looks like a cliff face that it's up against. And the other side is this place. Exactly. And you are the DM, you have the power. I think a lot of DMs forget that when they start using a map making tool, that you don't need to be 100% on the map making tool to have a narrative. So if the map making tool can't bridge the gap, you can always just be like, hey, this cabinet is a secret door, because I say it's a secret door. And then it leads to an adjacent map that isn't even part of this map. It could be a totally different map. Though it is nice to have it all in a single map, don't get me wrong, but it's just not a requirement. That makes sense? Or all connected in a single seamless experience. So how's everyone's weekend going so far? Anyone have D&D this weekend, or Pathfinder, anything like that going on? Any tabletop sessions? Additionally, I would love to hear, if you have already played this weekend, how did it go? What kind of shenanigans did you get into, or your players get into? Prepping for your session right now, Noldar? Love to hear it, love to hear it. When is the session? So Highland Lass is just like the master of ruins on maps. One of my favorite things about her builds is she is so good at making ruins look so natural. Like they've been overgrown and just sitting here at the test of time. And by that, I mean, these are stones that she laid one at a time. This is brick laid. She didn't have to do this. She laid all the brick. This is insane good detail. The attention to detail is what makes it look so more real and overgrown and natural. Tomorrow night in Old Are Nice. Lalandra playing tonight. I am so jealous. So jealous. Anyone needs a guest NPC? Let me know. I'm just kidding. I don't want to crash anyone's session. I'm just addicted to D&D and would love to play it constantly. It's not a problem at all. You're gonna have a session today, but bad weather ruined it? No! Ruined the whole week? No! Bad sloth. Or bat dad sloth. Not bad sloth. Bat dad. Bat dad. Oh my gosh. Now that I read your name out loud, it makes me laugh. Bat dad. Okay. Anyway, I hope Dungeon Alchemist can kind of ease your sorrows and give you a creative outlet in the interim. But then the little ruins, they've got camp in them, which it seems like a natural place. Someone lived here before, probably for a reason, but then they can use the ruins alcoves as protection from wind, you know, and whatever. Over here, we've got a little rundown house, a hovel overgrown with spiders. Then, of course, this lovely little cave here, hidden in the corner. Immersive, of course. Highland Lass typically ties historical sites to her maps. I'm not 100% certain if this one did. I didn't read the description. So I've gotten out of the habit of reading the descriptions for maps before I look at them. Because, and by that I mean when I'm looking at them privately, because I don't want to create a narrative based on the description and make a judgment preemptively. I also don't look at any of the maps from the contest until basically the night before or the morning of, when all of them have been submitted, because I don't want to get a bias towards one early and then later on see another one and, you know, not be able to react to it the same way I would as looking at it for the, you know, like with a group. So looking at them one after another in a group really helps me make a fairer judgment, I feel. I love this little hut in the wood, in like just the random wood. It looks really good, Highland Lass. I love the ruins. This is like my favorite part. That and the little huts. The little, like, you know, lean-to shelters. The staircase over here. This is great. Ooh, treasure. Treasure. I didn't notice that in my first pass. The bell is great here. Like, huh. You were able to use the script and everything too to import the walls and line of sight and all that stuff too, Sloth? Just wanted to make sure you figured that part out too. But yeah, it is crazy how much time it can save you. It took me a while how to make a bivouac or a den type. Honestly, it looks great. I think you did a great job. It looks like just a primitive lean-to, and I really enjoy it. Honestly, I am so excited for you. Like, I really wish I could see Dungeon Alchemist through fresh eyes again. it was such an like a crazy time too, because I like first saw Dungeon Alchemist when it was like in the pandemic, and I was going through like a rut. I didn't have a job. I was like in kind of a depressed state, and Dungeon Alchemist really brought me out of like a dark time, like mentally, emotionally, artistically, and also I found a home, a community, and a career. So it's been kind of great for me as a whole, I would say. But this community has been fantastic. But I always love when you know, someone can find Dungeon Alchemist and use it to, you know, help them artistically express themselves as a DM, because not everyone's good at drawing, right? Like they just say just draw a map, but sometimes you really want to give your players more than that if you like can really only draw a stick figure like me, you know. So I love tools like this that allow me to express myself better, more creatively. And at the end of the day, map making in Dungeon Alchemist, it's an art form. It really is art. I love this little hovel back here. You could barely even tell where the door is. It's all grown over. Little bit of treasure in here. Gold piece of candy. You really like to give a little bit to your players. So when you export your map on Dungeon Alchemist for Roll20, it says VTT import guidelines in the export menu right here. If you click that, it goes to our website and gives you a step-by-step walkthrough for Roll20 and how to properly import the script. Now, for Roll20 to recognize the script, you do have to have be one of their pay subscriptions. And that's a Roll20 restriction, not us. They do not allow users to access scripts unless they're a paid member. Now, if you follow these steps, and I'll drop that in chat really quick for you so you can just jump to it. But any export menu shows it as well, by the way. So every export menu, whether you're going for Fantasy Grounds, Roll20, Foundry, there's an export guideline available on our website that walks you through the process for that virtual tabletop, how to import it into it properly and make the scene work. Refresh your browser, like leave the scene and come back, and then try it one more time. Do you have a plus plan or a pro plan? That's important. Because if you're in a free plan, it will not work. Free plan will just be the map itself. Pretty sure Plus can do it. Or does Plus not do it? Which one am I wrong here, Atlam? Please correct me if I'm wrong. I thought Plus and Pro both do it. Oh, really? Maybe I'm wrong. Hold on. 1 second. We were looking at it earlier. Let's look at the subscriptions. Plus gives you access to... Oh, you do not get the mod access. So you need Pro, unfortunately. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Sorry, I don't know their pricing model as well as I know ours. So Pro is required because you need mod API access to be able to import the script. However, you can still import the image of the map just fine and draw in your own lines and stuff like that. You don't need the automation to be a successful DM. This just speeds things up. Yeah, it's good to know. Honestly, I'm kind of bummed that it, like, you know, they have a mid-tier paid plan that doesn't include that. But I will tell you this, Sloth, there are virtual tabletops that are free that can get full benefit of our maps. For instance, Above VTT is a great tool. Also, there's tools that offer a one-time payment model that do the same thing. So Foundry and Fantasy Grounds are a one-time fee for a lifetime license. And they include the ability to import the maps line of sight, windows, walls, doors, etc. DM Hub, Harpy VTT, Encounter Plus, any pretty much virtual, Arkan Forge, any virtual tabletop that uses the UVTT format, or it means Universal Virtual Tabletop, can utilize Dungeon Alchemist maps, and there's like dozens of them. Dozens! I know, getting players to switch or getting a DM to commit to a switch, because we don't know. The Bat Dad Sloth could have all his books there too. His content could be tied to Roll20, and he may not want to leave it. His players also, it's a nice user interface for players. But I will say this, I hate managing a player sheet on Roll20. My games on Roll20, we don't use it for the player sheet at all. We manage movement, the spells, the templates, all that token movement, lighting, but I manage my sheet exclusively on D&D Beyond, and use the D&D Beyond Beyond 20 plugin. It's like a Google, Mozilla, Edge plugin, browser plugin that automatically links your sheet from there to your character on Roll20, and you can roll from D&D Beyond and click on your stats and share them in chat. The character sheet creator and like character sheet manager in Roll20 is the bane of my existence. But I get it. Change is a big adaptation. If you're already, your players have learned one, tool, and you learned one tool and have a bunch of books and resources there, it's hard to jump ship. I'm just letting people know there's options. So do you use the D&D the Beyond 20 integration, Bat Dad? Jojo's Donato. Yeah, our next update will include full multi-level with roofing in the room tool. But that being said, like as you can see here, the rooms in this build are on multiple heights. One's lower, one's higher. The creator of this map raised some rooms up and had some rooms lower. When you're generating rooms in Dungeon Alchemist, you can actually raise or lower the room before you create it. So for instance, I could have a room sunken underwater. Did I generate anything there? Oh, what's my AI? Nothing. My AI settings are nothing. That's why. So there's like an underground structure there, kind of sunken, hard to see, but it is there. So you could generate underground structures, above ground structures, different heights for different buildings. You can even rotate the structures before you generate them. And that's something that's available to everyone in the stock version of the public version of DA right now. But our next update will allow you to generate a structure on top of a structure. So with relative ease, you'll be able to generate multi-room structures and multi-level structures in just a few clicks. But yeah, multi-floor is available if you're willing to either, raise and lower stuff or do the transitional spaces by hand. Like right here, this deck is done with objects. They use what's called a platform, a wooden platform, which is located in the object menu. There's several wooden platforms and cast iron platforms. Some of them have legs, so they could be like a second floor piece or like a balcony or a dock or whatever. So some of these work great in tandem. There's stairs, there's stone work, there's metal work. But this is the platform they used. And then this is essentially a floor piece, and they just put them right next to each other. A bunch of them. See what I mean? So, that one is actually probably the one. Anyway, it's very easy to make a second floor by hand if you get crafty with the objects. Just disable the collisions, pop in the floor piece, snap it into place. press it in, and you're good to go. But it does require more time. You're not going to be able to generate a multi-level structure in a couple clicks until the next update. Gotcha. So, okay. So what browser do you use, Bat Dad? So this map here is an entire secret base for these pirates. I'm assuming in a cove or like a cave or something they found where they've set up their kind of their retreat, their getaway, and they've done rather well. Look at this dock system. It's got rails. They've got like a massive treasure room, a spa. Looks like they've done rather well for themselves. So, okay, what Beyond 20 does, my friend, is it allows you to link the information in D&D Beyond to Roll20. So you create a campaign on D&D Beyond for your players, and they join on D&D Beyond, which is where they can create their character, they can manage their sheet, they can roll dice, but the browser plugin links the information between the two websites. So automatically links whatever you do on D&D Beyond to your Roll20 game. So you'll be looking at Roll20 and top down on the map, moving tokens around, your players will, but then they roll on their sheet on D&D Beyond where it's much more advanced. It has, you know, dice, custom dice rolls, advanced dice rolls on all the spell formulas. You can click an object and share the description in chat. I personally, when I'm running a campaign, I use Foundry. Excuse me. Got hiccup. But when I am playing, I'm in a campaign being run on Roll20. Oh, isn't Obsidian like a world anvil type tool, like a mind map and organization tool for the world, instead of not actually like a virtual tabletop for facilitating the gameplay and storing like character data and, you know, inventory and NPC information, stuff like that, maps? Gotcha. Honestly, I like tools like that, but more often than not, I just kind of use pen and paper to write all that stuff down, and then I use the digital tools to map it out, because I like having a world Bible in a binder that's kind of mine. Though a digital version of that, like Google Docs, is ideal, because you can do like tabs and pages and chapters, and there's mind map tools available. There was something I was checking out recently. It's like a wallet-sized little recorder, and it links with like Chat GPT or Claude AI, and it'll record everything you talk about in a meeting or in a game session, and then put it into like a bulleted notes and like a mind map and tons of information. And I like the idea of that, because I just talk and word salad sometimes when I'm spitballing ideas with my friends or my wife or, you know, whoever I'm like bouncing ideas off of. Something like that would allow me to organize it better. Anyway. Obsidian, is it pretty cool? My DM uses World Anvil, which has a lot of information, but I definitely can kind of see it's a little bit older. One thing I love about this map is just how it just feels like such a fleshed out environment. These pirates have really taken time to, you know, build out their base. They've got what appears to be, you know, areas where they have like lookouts and, you know, storage and facilities for all of their people to really enjoy themselves. Like a captain's quarters here. Huh. Are you following those steps I gave you, my friend? You might want to re-export the map and get a new script. Delete that script you're using, re-export it, and try it one more time. Maybe the script is the issue here. Okay. But if anything, like, delete the exports and re-export it again. Let's try it from scratch. Also, now that you've just updated, refresh the page a few times, because it might take a moment for it to initialize that you've updated your, you know, your payment plan and are able to access those things. Stand by. We'll walk through it together. So, did you add the script from the script library? The Dungeon Alchemist importer. Yeah, you might have to restart the sandbox too. Let's walk him through it this first time, make sure he gets it right and gets it working. We got one more map to look at. Unfortunately, I can't spend much more time in this one. Also, if we're not able to sort you out before the end of the stream, Dad, you can drop in our Discord and we can spin up a thread in the question forum or the support forum. And several users in our community will likely jump on and, you know, like multi-prong attack and help you solve this issue. Because we have a lot of people who use Roll20, who use it regularly and kind of troubleshoot the various problems that may arise. Especially post-stream, when we're out of the stream, the Discord is a great resource because there's people there all hours of the day. Oh, wait. No, that was the first map we looked at. Are we done? Okay. Yeah, so we're all the way around. The first map we looked at was Lalandra. That was the winning map. So let's just go back to it really quick. Ah, thank you. Game settings, then mod API scripts. And then what did you say you have to do there? Reset the sandbox. Again, Lalandra, fantastic work on this. Congratulations. And congratulations and seriously fantastic work to everyone who participated in the damn challenge. You know, you may not be a winner in this particular challenge, but you all did amazing. Your maps were fantastic. I enjoyed all of them. I wish we had more time in each of them. I got so carried away in some of them, so my apologies. Yeah, Lalandra really killed it with this map. And not only that, there's several secret rooms. There's one here in the chapel that goes underground and has like a secret escape hatch. Fully functional. There's a secret under this here in a secret room. Like a secret back room with an underground satanic ritual spot. There is a secret in this house here. A little alchemy station. And over here, there's a gambling room in this bar. So every one of these has a little secret tied to it. Very cool. Dyson, I'm sorry you missed it. I missed you around these parts, though. I saw you say hello when you popped in. I've just been so busy showcasing the maps. How have you been? Congrats again, Lalandra. And remember, our next theme for the next damn challenge is border. So using border as inspiration, make a map of any shape or size, okay? And you have between now and the end of the day on Friday the 30th of May. So 11:59 p.m. in your time zone, you have between now and then on the 30th of May to submit a map in the Damn Challenge channel in our Discord. The Damn Challenge channel has some rules pinned at the top if you just check the channel pins. The rules, there's like 4 rules. It just tells you the kind of guidelines to enter. Just make sure you make your map, follow those guidelines, and submit it before that deadline for a chance to qualify. If your map is the winning map, it's the first map featured on the Damn Challenge the following day, the 31st of May. Your map will be the first one featured, and you get a $10 Hero Forge gift card. So that's what is kind of in wait for Lalandra. And after the fact, your map is featured in our weekly newsletter, the Cartomancer Chronicles. So basically, it's a great way to showcase your skills, challenge yourself. That's the point of the challenge. You're not challenging anyone else but yourself to build a map in a time frame that may be outside of your comfort zone or something you may not necessarily need for your campaign right away. You're building something for fun and to push your, your creative skills to the limit. And also maybe challenging yourself to put your work out there if you're not used to sharing it. Great way to kind of, expand yourself into different skills, different map styles, and a fun way to expose yourself to different art styles in our community, because everybody's kind of got their own flair when they're making maps. Love the Damn Challenge. It's very fun. Some communities do like Maptober or whatever. We do the Damn Challenge. We do a map contest every 2 weeks all year. So that ends up being 26 maps a year. That, the map making contests a year. So it's close to a month's worth. I guess if it were like February, that'd be pretty much the month, right? Anyway, thank you everyone for participating in the Damn Challenge, whether you have actively shared a map in this challenge or past ones, whether you are a winner of a past challenge, or you've actively participated by watching the Damn Challenge or lurking in the background while we've been having them. So thank you for being here, whatever your platform you're on today. Again, my name is Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Dungeon Alchemist is a map-making utility available on Steam. It allows you to build maps in a snap for your tabletop campaigns, primarily set in a fantasy setting, thinking D&D, Pathfinder, stuff like that. Remember, we offer a demo on Steam, so you can try Dungeon Alchemist out, test drive it on your system, see how well it runs on your computer, so you don't have to invest any time or money beyond that if it isn't your vibe, your style. We offer several streams per week where you can tune in, learn, watch, check out community shared maps and assets, or even watch me build a map live. And speaking of which, our next stream, Monday, Mapmaker Monday, will be a live stream where I'm building a map live for you to watch and learn. You can participate by sharing ideas for the map, ask questions about the build, and additionally, kind of watch it come to life over time, because I only work on the map about a half hour a week, and it is massive. Okay. I usually pick big projects. I don't like doing small little builds. I like doing big builds. So you get to watch it kind of grow over time. If maybe you miss one stream, you can tune in a few weeks later and see how it's come along. That way, if you miss one, you're not missing out on too much. Now, that being said, yeah, Damtober or Maptober or something like that, whatever. I like the Damn Challenge as our own thing. But this map I've been working on here is called Ancient Cemetery. Working on this every Monday starting at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. UTC. So if you're not one of those time zones, please extrapolate from those. But it started in this corner. The map is now 85 by 82. And it's slowly expanded into a vast cemetery complex with, different grade plots for, different lifestyles and different income brackets, so to speak. Here we have a fenced off sort of private royal grave site. We have this beautiful chapel with a parking space and a lovely garden that encapsulates the entire property, where you can walk around and, become one with nature or your deity. Inside here, they facilitate the various funerals. There is actually a bit of intrigue on this map, because behind this confessional booth is a secret passage where you can go underground into the catacombs or whatever might be associated here. I have a 3-story bell tower that I built by hand. Every piece above the first floor was objects that I placed by hand. Coming back over here, I laid out these grave plots to kind of represent the various, clerics, paladins, priests, priestess who have served this chapel and the deity there over the centuries. Just Ancient Cemetery right now. I may give it a more of a better name with time, but that's just the placeholder. Right now, this is the section I'm working on. We framed all this out over the last couple streams, and I call this the sardine can. These are graves for those that can't necessarily afford a plot. Everyone in this community is given a plot, but they have, if they can't afford for the services for it to be dug or for a, you know, a nice casket or whatever, they have to dig it themselves. So their family members or friends have to dig it for them and provide them with a headstone. So all the headstones over here are kind of primitive, generic. Every one of them is kind of unique and different, representing the person who, you know, may have died. Some of the plots are, you know, a little bit bigger. Some are more packed in, and some are just vertical, where it's just like a headstone and the vertical grave. So we'll be packing these in, but the thing is, I'm making the shapes of the walkways and all the decorations and the graves as I go by hand. So none of this is done with, you know, like painting tools or the generation tools. So this takes time, but it's fun to kind of watch and learn as it grows. Yeah, I've been really kind of been trying to give different kind of casts, if you will, to the cemetery. You know, different, you know, these people's graves are bigger, they have mausoleums, they're stone because they served the church and they likely were given a more respectful burial. Whereas over here, these people may have been, you know, just peasants in the city, but when they died, their family members came and dug them a grave because they were afforded a space because of just the rights and of being a citizen of this, you know, city or whatever. But they do have to provide a headstone and dig the grave themselves, or either before they die or, you know, their family members and friends. Honestly, I like making lore for the maps when I build them. I'm sure you've seen that, Geronimo, over the many, many maps I've made on Mapmaker Monday. I build the lore as it goes, and I add the lore based on community feedback and input. Initially, I planned to not really incorporate any kind of necromancer activity in this, but after so many people were like, oh, a necromancer would love this, we finally added some intrigue and weirdness. There's a hatch in here underneath this sarcophagus. And you saw earlier a hatch back here, a doorway going underground. It's hidden at the chapel. And then back in this back corner of the map, we have the caretaker's cottage, which I took a lot of pride in developing this property. The caretaker, I see him as like the person who looks over all the graves, helps dig them, helps manage all the plants. He's a bit of a green thumb, and his property reflects that, right? Here, let's make it day so you can kind of see. You got it working? Nice, Bat Dad. I'm so happy. I'm glad you got it working before I took off. So over here, he's got a greenhouse with rare plants from different, you know, realms, from the Fey realm. Here's some desert cacti. He's got some bonsai, some, you know, mandrakes, some rare fruits. His home is beautiful, beautiful walkway all around. I actually laid out these stone by hand and curved them a little bit at a time. A lot of work went into this. But the point is, I like putting a lot of care and detail into my personal maps that I build. And every one of these plots will kind of reflect that. So over here, you know, is the kind of generic plots, but then these will be more like respectful or maybe terraced as we get over here to kind of show kind of like maybe individual family plots that are more private with fenced off areas and raised and stairs, stuff like that. So they'll all kind of have a distinct style. No shortcuts on this build. I even laid the road out by hand. You can kind of see it's definitely off center there. Anyway, I really appreciate you all being here today, but unfortunately we got to wrap up the stream because we're now 30 minutes past deadline on the stream. So thank you for participating in today's Dam Challenge stream. Remember, the theme for the next Dam Challenge is border. I would love to see a bunch of you participate in the next Dam Challenge. It would be so awesome to get a bunch of entries. Border can be used so many different ways, so I hope you know, some creative, intriguing, and interesting maps are submitted. Remember, you have between now and the 30th of May, end of day, to submit a map in the Dam Challenge channel in our Discord. Thank you for everyone for being here today. Again, my name is Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. I'm going to run a quick Dungeon Alchemist themed ad, and then we're going to wrap up the stream, all right? The next Dam Challenge is 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, it's a revolving door. Every 2 weeks is a new challenge. So you have between now and May 30th to enter. And then we show the maps that were entered on the 31st. So the Dam Challenge is every 2 weeks on Saturday. The alternating Saturday is called the Dam Stream. During the Dam Stream, we open up the workshop and browse maps and assets shared there and just showcase any of them, not just ones entered in the challenge. Mapmaker Monday, Monday's exclusive. One more quick announcement, actually. After Mapmaker Monday, I'll be out of town for a week. So the stream on the 21st, Wednesday, the stream on the 24th, Saturday, and the stream on Monday, the 26th, I will be gone. Those are canceled. So sorry to everyone that is anticipating those or just joining the community, excited for the next week or so. The only stream on the docket in the next week is Monday, the 19th, after which I'll be out of town and then return for stream on the 28th. I am going to visit my grandfather in Reno. Haven't seen him in years, and I'm going to go stay a few days with him and help him with some things and, you know, just vibe, really. We're going to go down to Tahoe for a day, have a picnic and stuff. I'm just excited to spend some time with him. He's getting old and he's getting up there in his years, and I worry I may not have many opportunities to see him again, so I really want to take this chance while I can. Anyway. Well, practice makes perfect there, Bat Dad, so definitely get on that. But honestly, if you don't want to submit on this next one, no pressure. Really, no one's under any pressure to submit a map to the Dam Challenge. Completely optional, okay? We just kind of offer it as a place for our community to flex their map maker muscle, show off their work, and essentially challenge themselves. So let's run that beautiful dam footage, and we'll start that Dungeon Alchemist themed ad and end the stream. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
You stand before the long, dark road to the fabled realm of Goyak-Ta, and before...
What do we see?
I don't know, a goblin.
I kill him.
But before she does, I, Gilliam of Firth, demand to know the goblin's name.
Hi, my name is Woblin.
Where do you live there, Woblin?
I don't think that's relevant.
Well, but I, Gilliam of Firth, demand to seek the goblin's abode.
Clever, find family, kill entire bloodline. I like it.
Seriously, we're doing this? Okay, well, won't be needing that anymore, will I?
Ever get caught by your players with your pants down? Dungeon Alchemist lets you create wonderful maps for any encounter in seconds.
Oh, Woblin, that's a very impressive cheese collection you've got there.
Yeah, it is quite impressive, yes. But you know what's more impressive? This map I have to the fabled realm of
Goyak-Ta, please take it and leave. Close the door behind you.
Mr. Woblin, I cannot help but notice that you have a secret tunnel underneath your cabinet. Care to explain?
Download Dungeon Alchemist, the AI-powered map maker, on Steam today.
Thank you again, everyone, for watching. Hope you have the most amazing weekend. We'll see you back on Monday with Mapmaker Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. UTC, as we tackle more graves in the ancient cemetery. Have an amazing weekend. Back out. Bye.